What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you have a wonderful day. I've got a pretty startling revelation to make to you. I guess some people kind of already knew this. I kind of suspected it, but went kind of the extra mile to confirm everything. Last week, we talked about how the Rings of Power has already had some review shenanigans, whether it was Amazon now putting a 72-hour delay or a 3-day delay, on leaving reviews for the show, to IMDb disappearing, all the bad reviews, which we'll recover, which, by the way, I want to still confirm, is still the case right now, Saturday or Monday morning. Sorry. What if I told you that Amazon owns IMDb? What if I told you that Warner Brothers and NBC own Rotten Tomatoes? You'd probably be like, of course! But it's true, my friends. It's all true. By the way, I think I don't know if I worded it right, but the ambassador program for Coffee Bread and Coffee, I want to just clear up. Everyone starts at 5%, and as you go up in volume, I think once you do like a couple hundred orders, 500 orders, you get up to 10%. But one thing that I was not clear about was also you always will get 2.5% on all your recurring orders. And also, people, you don't have to pay anything to do this. It's just free. It's just a straight affiliate program. It's not a pyramid. You don't have to pay. You don't have to recruit anybody. If you like the coffee and you tell someone about it and they buy it, I pay you money. It's that simple. So I want to talk about, I'll leave a link to the ambassador program in the description below, of course. I talked about this last week where Lord of the Rings of Power on IMDb has a 6.8 out of 10. Seems kind of high to me, but it does. I think it's shenanigans. I think it's also shenanigans, I should say. But when we go to the actual user reviews, if I want to see it, I want to read in depth everyone that gave the show a 9 out of 10, I can do that. An 8 out of 10, I can do that. A 7 out of 10, I can do that. What if I want to know someone that gave it a middle of the road score? 5. Oops, deleted. 4, deleted. 3, deleted. And then before anyone says, well, this is just an issue, maybe a site-wide issue, here's House of the Dragon, another show that's widely popular. However, it's on HBO, not on Amazon. I can read all the 5-star reviews I want. I can read all the 4 stars. I can read all the 1 stars. Interesting, right? House of the Dragon airs on HBO. Rings of Power airs on IMDb. And now I want to show you, we look at 11 companies you might not realize are owned by Amazon. IMDb.com. Amazon bought the IMDb back in 1998. Individual pages within the database have now got the option to buy the DVD or Blu-ray of the film from Amazon. Other than that, it's remained relatively separate entity since the purchase. Yeah, except for this, right? And also, by the way, they also own Box Office Mojo. The website Box Office Mojo has been charting the box office performance of movies since '99, and in July 2008, IMDb bought the service. Thus far, Box Office Mojo has continued to run as its own entity, although in October 2014, traffic for one day was redirected to IMDb's own box office page. This change was reversed within 24 hours because it failed. We can also look at Rotten Tomatoes, a site that is not owned by HBO or by Amazon. Would you look at that? A 39% with 18,500 reviews. What a coincidence. They're just letting all those gnarly negative reviews come through. Well, let's take a look at who owns Fandango Media. Oops. It's NBC Universal owns 75% of it, and Warner Brothers owns 25% of it. So to be clear, the two most popular internet review websites that we, the consumers, use to air our concerns, praise, feedback, negative feedback, whatever we want on the shows that we watch are owned by the people that make them. Of course. Now that's a grift. That's a grift even I could appreciate. I mean, are you kidding me? The game was rigged from the start, essentially. You can't make this stuff up. And of course, we talked about Amazon delaying the reviews for Rings of Power to combat quote unquote fake reviews. Except that's also a lie. You know why? Because Amazon has all of the power it needs to actually screen whether or not you watch the program, because it's right on their platform and you have to be logged in to do it. So you have to be logged in to Amazon to watch Rings of Power. In fact, I'm going to see if I can leave a review yet, because I have watched it. Let's go here. It is still on hold. It shows the 6.7 on IMDb because they own it. But Amazon will still not let me review it. And I watched it 4 days ago? That's interesting. They said only 3 days. Move comes amid anti-woke backlash to diverse casting. Really? Amazon suspends Lord of the Rings reviews as it becomes Prime's biggest premiere. Now look, hey, one thing that I can't take away from it is allegedly 25 million people watched it. That is probably one of the biggest premieres of all time. In terms of like, I mean, if you just think of what that would do at the box office, 25 million people paying, $15. That's a lot of dimp at the box office for an opening day. But the idea that it's Prime's biggest premiere is no big deal. Prime's got like a handful of shows, okay? None of which had anywhere near the anticipation of Lord of the Rings. But hey, 25 million people watched it. Can't call it a flop. Can't. I don't know if any of my cohorts were. I didn't see really any of those headlines. I for one, said from Jump Street that I was still going to watch it. I already pay for Prime. What's going to be interesting is you see like the why Amazon can ensure that reviews are legitimate, not part of some scheme by racist trolls, as was the case with She-Hulk and Miss Marvel before it. Oh, anything, they use the POC shield, right? Anything negative, if you don't like the show, it's because it's a POC and we disregard it. In the meantime, you may as well bite the bullet and watch the show yourself. Oh yeah, you might as well consume it. Thanks, Gizmodo. Either you like it, or you've got House of the Dragon to fall back on for your fantasy fix. That's fair. That or The Witcher. Also, The Witcher is okay. I wish it had way more monster fights, but I still like it. Wheel of Time, I don't like that. You get the idea. And if you've seen Rings of Power, let us know what you think. Unless you're like lefty, my editor, I think that most people could agree that the show was underwhelming. I don't think that it was so bad that like it's unsalvageable, but it's going to take an amazing episode 3. You see, The Guardian writes a backlash to rule them all. Every controversy so far about Rings of Power. Of course, the very first thing, racist backlash. The most pressing and yet most depressingly inevitable controversy has been in the wave of keyboard warriors ranting about wokeness. Lenny Henry, by the way, who sucks in this role, for example, plays a proto-hobbit, which has caused a noisy minority of viewers to complain that Amazon ruined their favorite thing. Again, no, not true. It's funny because these same articles will talk about how it's a vocal minority, but then also say it's the biggest problem on Earth. Amazon blocking reviews. All of the above caused Amazon to enforce a 72-hour delay on user ratings for the show to prevent the ugly sort of review brigading that has hurt everything from Miss Marvel to Bluey in recent months. Never even heard of Bluey. The delay was brought on so a team of moderators can parse all the reviews and weed out those deemed to have been written in bad faith. Are you kidding me? What they're saying out loud right here, right now, is that they will scrub negative reviews. Even if you've watched the show and they think that your review is in bad faith, it's going to get removed. And anyway, like, I don't know how many people really out there, like, honestly, in your heart of hearts, How often is it that you look at a review and you're like, oh, it tanked, I don't want to watch it? I can't say that it never happens for me. If it's like a middle of the road movie that I was like kind of interested in seeing, I may say, like, oh gosh, I got 30%, I'll skip that. But for things that I actually wanted to see, it's rare that it really, really affects me. I suppose maybe it might make the biggest decision for me, I guess, until somewhat recently would be like, okay, maybe I'll wait and watch it at home instead of paying $50 to go to the theater. That could be it. And of course, doubling down on more racism, accents, and even more racism. So 3 of the 4 things the Guardians brought up is that Disa's beard. Disa's actually a decent character in the story, by the way. So there's that. Galadriel's armor, which was hilarious. Her armor sucked too. I mean, and you have like all sorts. This article, Amazon's Rings of Power is not for purists or racists. It's such a cop out. It's such a cop out to write this. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? All these people, by the way, that were like, hey, this isn't up to snuff for Tolkien. This isn't like honoring his lore. They still watched it. You know why I know? You told me so. You told me 25 million people watched your premiere. 25 million. That's a lot of people. So am I supposed to believe that none of them, 25 million people, and none of them left negative reviews? If they watched it, they must have loved it, I guess is the logic behind this. Anyway, we're all going to have to start looking for a different review site to trust. Maybe if you know one, leave it down in the comment section down below. One that's like actually not owned by some media conglomerate who's going to openly, right in front of our face, tell us that they're going to be deleting our reviews. That would be great. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm looking for, look, make no mistake about it, I'm looking forward to episode 3. Because, boy, it's gotta get better. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you click that red subscribe button down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.